Project Power is a new Netflix film. I don't really watch Netflix films, I never have, because they're usually just Adam Sandler stuff that ain't that funny. But recently a whole lot of stuff has been cancelled in the cinema. I don't know why. I mean, I know Rona, but nothing's being shown in the cinema anymore. I mean, I saw an advert for this anyway. I thought it looked pretty cool, so thought I'd give it a watch. So this is written by Mattson Tomlin, directed by Henry Joost and Ariel Schulman, I don't know. I had to read the names off, I don't remember. So yeah, they're the people that made it. Now the plot for Project Power follows this drug that, believe it or not, gives people powers, and the drug's called Power. There you go. And it gives people pretty cool powers, you know, like being bulletproof, being strong, being, you know, being able to use your bones as weapons. I don't know. They kind of went all out with imagination here. You can turn into fire. Yeah. The main stars of this film are Jamie Foxx, Joseph Gordon-Levitt, Dominique Fishback, and MGK even rolls through for a little bit. Machine Gun Kelly. I thought I recognised him. I thought it was like that's MGK, right? And it was. He plays like a human, like the Human Torch from Fantastic Four, the guy that's just on fire, except he actually burns. He actually gets burnt from being on fire. So I guess a little bit more realistic than Fantastic Four. Now Jamie Foxx was really good in this. He's his usual like charismatic self. I really love the way he just delivers his dialogue. He's really good at it. It's always, he's got one of them voices in movies where you actually just want to hear him speaking. Like you could listen to him monologue or something. And he doesn't necessarily monologue in this, but he's got some cool dialogues, cool conversations, that sort of thing. So he's really good, and it's great to see him in this. Dominique Fishback was also really good. I haven't seen her in anything else before, I don't think, but she was really good. You know, she did a performance really well, and I can see her definitely being in more stuff based on this, because she did a good job. I'm a big Levitt fan too, but something about his character in this movie just kind of didn't feel right. I don't know if he just wasn't suited to the role, or if the dialogue wasn't particularly well written for his character. I'm not really sure. Something just felt a little bit off. But I don't know, maybe that's because I saw Inception recently, so they're two very different characters, and I think Levitt's very suited to his character in Inception, you know, kind of more formal, whereas in this he's a bit more, I guess you call it hood, street, whatever. It's no discredit to Levitt as an actor though, like he was still really good. He still did probably the absolute best he could with this character, and you know, he still delivered his lines well and that sort of thing. It just kind of felt a little bit off. I think it probably didn't help that there weren't really any sort of deeper explorations with his backstory and motivations, that sort of thing, whereas with Fox and Fishback you get that in quite some depth, whereas with Levitt you don't really get that. So it's kind of hard to understand his motivations, kind of hard to root for him as much as you are with the other characters. I mean, with a movie like Project Power, you kind of know what you're going to get. If you've seen the trailers, you know what you're getting into with this sort of movie. You know what sort of film it's going to be. And as with a lot of action movies like this, it starts well, but it just sort of slowly deteriorates, which is kind of to be expected. You know, I was watching it and I was thinking, hey, it's a good start. It's doing well. But I knew in the back of my mind, like, this isn't going to... It's not going to build on this. It's just going to sort of not get worse, but just not remain as good, and just sort of, yeah... Well, yeah, get worse. Worse is harsh though, because I didn't find myself bored or anything like that, and I didn't find myself like, oh, this is crap. No, you know, it's just one of them. You know what I mean? It's one of them action movies. But you know, for sure it hits them stereotypes that you see in these type of movies. You know, like a secret organisation doing, you know, spooky shit in the background. Henchmen with big beards. There's always a henchman with a big beard in movies like these. Code words. Believe it or not, the big operation was called Genesis, or the boat that they were doing all this crap on was called Genesis. It's like, of course it was called Genesis. Of course. You know the drill. You know the drill. You know how it goes. I'll tell you, this movie has some good elements to it, to be fair. You know, the soundtrack was cool for start. You know, you got some cool like R&B, cool hip hop thrown in there. You know, make some of the scenes pretty cool, pretty epic, bro. The score itself was just an action score, you know, like fast paced, all that sort of stuff, but you know, it's an action scene. You wouldn't really expect anything else, but it's nothing like stand out. The lighting was cool. There's some good use of like neon lights, you know, your blues, your reds, that sort of thing, when they're in like, I don't know, like clubs, apartment buildings, like scenery where it's a bit dark. You get like really cool like lights being thrown in there, which I thought was effective. You know, it was cool. It just sort of brings you in a bit more when you got like some cool colours going on with the shot. And there was a good variety of locations used. Like, they made the most of New Orleans, where this is based. So, you know, they kind of explored New Orleans quite a lot. You know, you got stuff like the docks. You've got, you know, like the rundown like areas, you got like streets, corner shops, all this sort of stuff. It was cool to see that. Now the camera work was quite interesting. They used like some cool like variety of shots and techniques, like, you know, you got some cool panning shots here with like for longer takes during the action sequences. Some tracking shots as well were pretty cool, you know, following the action or following a character as they make their way. Some cool use of zoom as well, like a character will burst through a door and then the camera will just go, that's out. The camera will just go woof, like that. Yeah. I need to fucking get this right now because I've just moved it. I think it was there. We'll go with that. Yeah, but cool use of camera, sure. But it was a little bit overbearing at times. Sometimes I feel like they were using too many techniques in like one sequence. Like one of the sequences is really weird. Like it was like an action sequence in like this underground club, and one of the people was taking like one of these power pills, but they're like locked in like a container thing, I don't know, like a see-through glass container, and the camera for some reason it goes to her to show her like freaking out on this pill, and then just stays on her while all the action that we actually want to see is going on outside the tub. I don't really know what that was about. I guess it was meant to show like a cool perspective, but it just kind of felt a little weird. Almost felt like they just couldn't be bothered to cut to show what was going on outside the tub. So I don't know, it's not that big a deal, but I'm just using that as an example where they just sort of were throwing loads of different camera work in there, when I think with action sequences you kind of need to keep it somewhat simple, using the same sort of shots and not cutting too much. The cuts weren't actually too bad in this, to be fair, though. It's a little frequent sometimes. I can't criticise this too much, though. You know, it's a fun action movie. It's just here to have fun. It's not here to tell some Oscar-winning story and all this sort of stuff. But it's fun. I enjoyed my evening watching it, for sure. I didn't feel like a waste of 2 hours. It's one of them I'd probably never rewatch it, but I ain't mad at it, you know, it was a good watch. It kind of reminded me of a video game. It had like that fun imagination to it in terms of like the powers and stuff like that, and the way like enemies would look after they'd taken a pill. I mean, one of the dudes like literally turns into a Resident Evil boss. That's what it looks like. He takes this pill and he gets all big and gruesome and stuff, and he's literally making like the same noises as a Resident Evil, you know, boss would after they got infected with like, what's it called, the G virus? It's something in Resident Evil. But yeah, it kind of reminded me of that, which is cool. It's kind of nice to see that in a movie, but in regards to the CG, it kind of did feel like a video game cutscene you were watching, like some of the way it looked. But it's, as I said, this is a Netflix action movie. It's to be expected that the CG isn't going to be your top bog standard stuff. So yeah, I'm going to give this movie a... Oh God, what the fuck did I even... I had to re-record this ending because the audio went mad in the other one. And I can't even remember what score I settled on after all that time of deciding. 7. I'm acting like that, so I just realised. No, I've just decided that. We're going for 7 out of 10. It was a good film. Next up, we got some other stuff before... I don't know, it's kind of getting a bit random now in terms of movies, because the cinema's not really showing anything. But you know, I'm gonna find some stuff that I'd like to review, and hopefully you guys would like to watch. But we do have some more Netflix films coming out next month. There's a cool one coming out. I can't remember its name, but it's got like Tom Holland in it, Robert Pattinson, Bill Skarsgård. So that looks cool. I look forward to reviewing that. So yeah, I'll see you in whatever's next. This is a fucking audio check because the whole fucking time. Yeah, testing, all that shite.